Welcome to An Aries and Pisces Walk Into a Coffee Shop, the podcast. We're your hosts. I'm Bridget, she, her.
And I'm Tiffany, she, her. This is a podcast where two friends let go of perfectionism and talk unedited.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to today.
Oh, thank you. I needed the welcome to today. I've been resistant to starting today all day, but I'm doing it and I'm here.
Good. Do you know why that is?
I'm stressed and tired.
Yeah.
So
I just made a new YouTube video about my morning routine. And what I found myself, like the main theme, one of the main reasons why I have a morning routine and like what keeps happening during my morning is just like how tired I am, like how exhausted I am and how hard it is to like get through that, and how I'm still like amazed about it. Like every single day I'm like, this is so hard again. Like every single day.
Yeah. Oh, okay. And so I have a question for you.
Yeah.
For me.
Go. Yeah. Okay.
So when you have that thought, oh, this is so hard again today, every day. What do you do with that? do you just let yourself have the thought? Do you try to reframe it? How are you managing that?
Okay.
Or aren't you? I
Okay.
guess it's a question.
This is great questions. And I have multiple answers.
Okay.
I would say that for a very, very long time, it was very much like, I'm miserable. This is miserable. Mornings are miserable just every single day. Like, this is just how it is. It sucks. I wish that it wasn't this way. Ugh. And then I realized, okay, Bridget, if you would like maybe it to not suck so much, or for it to change, or maybe I don't want to hate that I'm so tired, because also like I would be like, is that going to change? Because the thought in my mind is like, I don't want to be so tired, right? Like I want to be like full of energy. So that's what I was working with for a while. It was like trying to be like, okay, what would it be like to have energy in the morning? And try to like lean into that, like embody the character that has like wakes up and is like ready to go. But that to me feels like so far-fetched, and like it just that wasn't happening for me. So then I was kind of like, well, okay, I'm just tired in the morning, and what would it be like then to be okay with that, to be okay with how I feel right now. That's my like big thing I've been trying to do overall, is to be like, how can I be okay with where I am right now? And
that thing.
yeah, and that's hard as fuck. And so then that's when I was like, okay, well, it would be helpful to like shift my mindset of like, instead of like immediately when I wake up, I'm like, ugh, tired again. Like, I hate this. This sucks. I can be like, okay, tired. Yes, it's morning. I'm tired. Those are just like facts. And then what I've been doing like much more recently is, what is like one thing I can look forward to? And so then I've been trying to shift to thinking about that, because with doing like my joy practice of like trying to notice more joys in my day, because I'm all on like, I want to enjoy my fucking life instead of feeling miserable all the time. And I don't feel miserable all the time, but when the misery hits, it hits big.
It feels that way. Yeah, I understand the hyperbolic language.
Okay. Ugh. I hate that for both of us. So, um, been trying to lean into those joys, so I'm like, "Okay, what's one thing that I can look forward to that I can wake up, be like, all right, I'm tired. Here's like
Mhm.
a joyful thing I can hold on to, like, we're
Okay.
heading there." And my thing was that, like, I get to do my morning practice, like, my morning
Mm,
routine, because I know how impactful my morning routine is
right,
in, like, pulling me through all of that, and that's another reason that, like, I am so big on, like, having my own business and not working for
right.
somebody else, that, like, one of my main things is because I really value being able to structure my day in a way that works for me, and that's what works for me. So I'm like, "Okay, I'm gonna
Mm,
lean into that
mhm.
thing that I have chosen for myself." That's my, like, that's my big, 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 big self-care. That's my big thing. So I'm gonna
Yeah.
wake up and I literally just keep repeating in my head, I get to do my morning practice. Like, I get to do my morning routine. I get to do my morning routine. And Tiffany, it's not easy, and I'm
Mhm.
still trying to figure it out, and that is what I'm practicing. Because I say it like I go to the bathroom, I do my bathroom stuff, I'm just repeating that the whole fucking time. I go down to feed the
Mm,
cats, I'm just repeating that the whole time, like, I get to do this. I get to do my morning routine, like, that's what I get to do it,
right.
and I just
I
keep
do
trying to,
like
like,
that.
hold on to that.
Okay.
I got, like, the inspiration because, I had asked this to my partner.
Mhm.
And, I always find it really interesting to hear about his things. Like, I'll ask him things that are going on in my mind, like, "How do you deal with this?" And most of the
Yeah.
time, he's like, "I don't fucking know, that doesn't happen to me."
Yeah.
And I'm
Literally never crossed my mind that I would have to deal with that.
and I'm like, "Ugh, okay." But this was
Yeah,
one
relatable.
this
Mhm.
was one of the ones of, like, "How do you get through your morning?" Like, "How do you" and he's like, "Well, I get to work and I get a mug of coffee and I get to sit down and I think maybe he
Oh.
starts his day with like a little bit of like a podcast or like
Mm.
something like that. And he's just like, I look forward to enjoying that cup of coffee. And
Ah,
to me, that seemed like revolutionary because I was like, in my mind, it was like, but you have to wake up early and go to work. And to me, that's like, I could only see the like, that seems, that's miserable. That's miserable to
right.
me. I could like only see the like things that felt misery, right? Like I
Right.
could only see that like I'm fucking tired in the morning and I got to drag myself through this again. So I
Right.
was like, okay, well, what's one thing? What's my cup of coffee? What's a thing that I could like hold on to?
Right. Ooh. Okay. I think listening to you talk, a couple of things that I just are the themes of everything are that I think I'm doing all the right things.
Shoot, it's this one.
It's
Okay.
hard. It's so because it's hard, I'm not
Yeah.
doing good, even though I
Mhm.
am. Hell.
Yeah.
And also the oppression of capitalism and white supremacy.
Yeah.
Because what I think is happening, well, I asked because I've been kind of side eyeing this like sinking feeling I get most mornings because one of my kind of rituals with um my partner is we send good morning like greetings, hellos, and then there's kind of it's not like a script, but there's like kind of a flow that's similar where it's just like we say good morning and then we ask like each other like how our rest was or how the morning's going. And for me, my rest is always a struggle and my mornings are hard. And so then I kind of go through this ritual every morning of being like, I want to tell the truth, but I'm
Mm.
sick of sounding
Yeah.
like I'm just a miserable human being. But in fact, even when my rest is better, it's still hard. And how is my morning going? I'm usually really anxious in the mornings. And part of it is it's really hard for me to just accept that mornings need to be slower, and I need to move slow through the morning, and also structure my morning in such a way that feels more supportive. Directly butts up against this idea of I work from home at like
Mhm.
essentially a 9 to 5, but it's an 8 to 4:30. So like I start work already kind of feeling rushed and hectic, even though I work from home, because my rest is often difficult and I wake up exhausted. And then I kind of like rush into the workday and then have this like overwhelming sense of like, I should be better at this. I should wake up
Mm.
earlier. I should be more focused, quicker. I shouldn't be so slow. I like da 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 da. And I'm like, and then I do all the things, right? I think because I have a coffee ritual in the morning that I really look forward to, and sometimes tea, but usually it's coffee because I do really enjoy the whole sensory experience of
Mhm.
making and also drinking that coffee. And I have like my morning routines with my cat. Like normally she wants to be pet first thing in the morning, so like I do take a couple of minutes just to like breathe and spend time with her. And I've been working on not rolling out of bed and then going to my desk. I've been like slowly incorporating like more time in between where I feel like I can be a human and take care of my human body before I'm sitting in the work atmosphere. And then like even then I find myself feeling guilt for being slower in the morning.
Mm.
And I think it's that like, well, I'm at my work desk, so I should be working in a certain way and not
Mhm.
like honoring the rhythms of like, I know that I get a little bit of a pick me up later afternoon. So like, what would it be like to just be okay with being slow in the morning and allowing that energetic pick me up that I normally just naturally get kind of carry me through the rest of my day?
Mhm. Mhm.
I haven't really thought about the, oh, I get to do this or that. Not consciously, anyway. Maybe it would be helpful to think of that more consciously.
I do also wanna just, like, reiterate literally everything that you said there. Hi, I hate this journey for us, but this is, like, everything out of your mouth, like, I definitely could have said. Um, uh, and also, like, I talk about a lot of it in that video that I just made and, like, the reasons, like, why I do my morning routine, and yeah, like, I don't think that I jumped into it specifically around the, like, self-judgment of it, but I do talk about, like, urgency and hustle culture and
Right.
that yeah, the capitalism of it all,
Mm-hmm.
um, and that when I realized what I need is a really slow start to my morning, and I had a really hard time accepting that, and
Yeah.
that's where, like, the judgments and everything came in. Um, so that's for real. You ain't alone in that, and it's so funny to me because I literally just, like, recorded myself having that exact conversation.
It's so
Nuts.
good to be understood. However, I
Yeah,
don't want this anymore.
um,
Um,
I had another thing too, like, when you were talking about the conversations with your partner in the morning,
mhm.
and I was thinking, like, that's a very sweet, like, ritual to have, and if someone was asking me those questions in the morning, I would be like, just cringing inside my body because of all of the
Mhm.
things that you said, and my partner and I actually just had this conversation where I was saying, I've been dealing with a lot of chronic pain flares lately,
Right.
and he's been dealing with a lot of, like, work stresses and things like that,
Mhm.
and we were finding ourselves having to say the same conversation over and over again. It was right, like, "How are you?" Like, "How are you
Yeah.
feeling? How was your day?" And it was just the same stuff over and over again, and like you said, like, yeah, I wanna tell the truth. Like, I wanna let him know that I maybe am having a hard time being present in this conversation because my body's screaming at me. I wanna let
Mhm.
him know that, but I don't wanna keep, like, harping on about just all of the pain that I'm in all the time. Like, I wanna keep living my life, right? Like, I wanna focus
Yeah.
on these joys. Like, I've already addressed this part of my body. I'm already doing that work.
Mhm.
Um, so we came up with a code word, and I felt like it was very, like, multi-amory, that
Mhm.
one concept that they have, which is funny because I was just listening to a podcast today where they were the guests on
Oh,
it, and they talked about this, and they talked about their, like, they each talked about their, like, they're writing a book, like,
right.
and, they talked about the main, like, tools in the book that they use in their lives most often. So,
Mhm.
of course, like, listening to that, I got all warm and fuzzy inside because I was like, "Oh my god, those are things that we do all the time," and it
Mhm.
just has helped so much. But it was, this thing where I think they were talking about, like, it's like writing a script. So if you have
Mhm.
some kind of, like a mini script or a mini something, if you have like a scenario going on, so say like it's the chronic pain, it's whatever is going on, and then we have a code
Yeah.
word, and then we both know what that code word means, like what to do in the situation of that code word. So for
Mhm.
example, like ours we just came up with, we're like, it's pineapple. And
Mm.
so I'm like, okay, well, that is gonna mean, hey, there's something going on. I don't necessarily want to dive into it right now. But I want to let you know that like that's where I'm at.
Mhm.
And we can then like determine what we wanna do, like, moving forward. So,
Okay.
like, if we're, like, at dinner and he
Mm.
comes home and I'm just, like I'm sitting at the table, I'm in so much fucking pain, and I'm just like, "Hey, pineapples, like, lots of pineapples right now." And he's like, "Okay," like, he has, like, an understanding of, like, where
Yeah.
I'm at, and then we can, like, keep going. So it's not like I don't have to just keep, like, diving into the fact that I'm in so much pain or, um, like, asking each other, like, "How was your day?" Or, similar to like, it really made me think of that, like, that morning question of, like, "How did you
Mhm.
sleep?" I've straight up asked for him not to ask me that question anymore
Ah.
because I'm like, that's not a helpful question. So, like, can we come up with other questions in these scenarios? Like, if we do
Mm.
want to have that engagement, um, or that, like, interaction with each other, how can we do it in a different way that feels better or
Mhm.
doesn't feel as heavy, I guess?
Yeah. 'Cause, like, sometimes it's nice to have that question, "How was your rest?" Because sometimes I'm able to, like, "Oh, there's been progress there." But
Hmm.
those times are fewer and far between. Because most of the time, it's a struggle. And it's also hard too. Because sometimes I'll have a great rest and I'm still exhausted, and that's disheartening.
Hmm.
And it's like, well, of course, because, nervous system stuff, chronic pain stuff, like, even if I have a couple of really good nights sleep in a row, for me, it still doesn't mean I'm not waking up every day really tired and then also feeling bummed that I'm so tired in the morning when I have stuff that I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, like, some of the questions that I've liked or tried to get into asking are like, "What's something that you're looking forward to today?"
Mm, yeah, I
Or
like that question a lot.
Um, which that I feel like leans into the thing I was saying before about like, yeah, then you're leaving the note on like, oh yeah, this is something I'm looking forward to. And I feel like even when we like ask different questions like that, it's like if in your example, like if I slept really well, I would just come out and be like, "Oh my god, I slept so well." Like, "Yay." Like you don't have to ask me cuz I'm going to be like, "Guess what?" And
Yeah,
so I
but
can
it's
still like
so out of the ordinary.
right,
It's worth commenting on.
right. Um but yeah, like that, like what are you looking forward to? Or like I love to ask is there like what did you learn today? Or like did
Mm,
you what do I like did you learn anything or like did you see anything cool or
yeah.
like stuff like that? Cuz like when somebody asks me like how I'm doing, I kind of hate that question or like how's it going? I'm like it's
Yeah.
going. Like there's that answer again. It's going. I'm here.
Mhm.
I'm alive. Like it's all the fucking things. I can't give you a cute little answer. Like,
Mhm.
or like, how was your day? Same thing. It's up, it's down, it's sideways, it's all the things. But
Mhm.
like, if you ask me, like, like, what'd you do today? Or like, did you do anything cool? Is there anything about your day that you like would really like to tell me about? Like, I love like those kinds of questions.
Mm. Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, I like those too because those I think encourage me to think about the positives or like the abundance or like what I can receive. Whereas the other ones sometimes just kind of highlight the lack or scarcity.
Mm,
I've been thinking a lot about scarcity mindset again. I mean, I go through this like hyperfixation
yeah.
rounds where it's like it's always kind of in the background.
Yeah.
And right now, I'll let you know you're probably going to be hearing about it a lot because I've I went down into the deep end again where it's like literally the only thing like that word, that concept has
Mm,
been just like alarm blaring, like, oh, you have to pay attention to this because I'm realizing that is a lot of like the thought patterns or like feelings that I'm having that are super uncomfortable. It's all scarcity mindset, like conditioning.
hate that for you, but I am living for these conversations that are going to come up. I am so there. I also like that you said like you go through rounds of it. Like it's always
Mm-hmm.
kind of there, but sometimes it comes to the forefront. That made me think of like you're in like a little like a boxing ring or something and someone like dings the bell. We're dinging the bell for this round of scarcity.
Yep. It does feel like that because, like I said, it's always kind of there, and then every once in a great while, it's literally all I can think about or uh, think about and or read about. Um, I think it's like again like that spiral staircase idea.
Mhm.
So it's like it's something that I have, yeah, done rounds with over and over again, but like it's just like another level of where I'm
Mhm.
like, oh, that's right, that thing, I have to pay attention to that.
But
Oh,
I mean, I feel like every time we come up against the thing again, it's right, we just learn more and collect more
right.
data, and it can suck really bad sometimes when it comes back up. But
Yeah.
um
I still struggle with that, oh no, not this again thing too.
yeah.
I'm working on that reframing of like, oh no, it's just like more data or different data. And I'm like a different person. So it's going to hit differently this
Yeah.
time
Yeah.
instead of that check mark thing
Uh-huh.
where it's just like, sorry, I just had a thought that that's very societal because that's like conditioned into us too. This idea that you do the thing and then it's done and then like that endless progressing
Yeah.
and like it has to look
Yeah.
like a steady upward climb. Like it doesn't really allow for all like the loop the loops and like
Mhm.
just flat lines.
Like you overcome it and then it's done and you move on to the next thing.
Right.
but that's
And that's
not
not
how
reality.
yeah, that's not how any
Literally
of
for
this shit
anything,
works.
including capitalism. Like,
Oh, shit.
oh, I've been thinking a lot about the just letting things be. And I had a profound experience, which seemed to describe it sounds so simple, but to experience it in the way that I did felt incredibly profound. And it sounded so simple because it's exactly what we've been talking about, what we're talking about now, the idea of like letting things be, not constantly striving or constantly trying to fix. Um, I attended this workshop, a qigong workshop with a local burlesque performer and also therapist, and like very social justice oriented. She comes from a Thai background, so qigong is something that um, is like her how she incorporates like somatic practice that through therapy and then her cultural background. And so she's doing this workshop kind of talking about all of that and with the social justice lens of um, that is revolutionary to take care of yourself that way so
Mm.
you can show up in community. And one of the things that she had us do was make a really tight fist and with our other hand, like try to pry it open while holding that tight fist and just kind of like do that for a bit. And then, like, once you feel like you've done enough of that, kind of just like sit, relax, and just kind of see what comes up or how you feel. And
Mm.
then she had us do it again with the fist, but instead of trying to pry and pull, just hold it and
Oh.
just sit there for a while and like just hold the fist and like not try to make it anything other than what it was doing. And
Uh-huh.
then like see the difference. And it sounds so like, like describing it sounds so simple. And part of the background of it is I was telling her about my jaw tension issues and the chronic pain that is stemming from a lot of that muscle tension. And she was telling me that hands are connected to jaws. And so she had us do this really simple thing to be like, how does that feel to like try to pull and pry and like fix the fist versus just letting and being with it.
Mm.
I immediately felt big shifts in my body through both of those exercises. And the fist one, I'm tearing up thinking about it.
Ah.
I feel like at the time, like I could feel this like deep grief, like just crawl right up into my throat behind my eyes. And I was just like, oh, right. Just letting yourself be and
Yeah.
not have to fix and pry and strive. And I was like, having that somatic experience of something I've been thinking about way up here.
Mhm.
Cause like I kind of obsessively think about that concept. And it was so wild to just have something so simple in my body reflecting that. Um, it felt like I went another round with the same thing and just like, I don't know, it almost seems comical. It's just like, well, of course. And then also, oh my, I didn't know I could feel that way about the same thing I've been obsessively thinking about.
Yeah.
Oh, which reminds me, another thing that she gave me related to what I just said is she uses this phrase where when we do the somatic exercise, she's like, okay, you could take the elevator back up to your brain and let's like talk about it.
Huh.
And I realized something I had been doing because I tend to just intellectualize. Like that's my comfort zone is to be way up here and overanalyze, nitpick, intellectualize so I don't have to be in my body
Mhm.
and feel through the things. I just try to think my way out. And I've been practicing over the last few years of like allowing my body to feel things and like staying connected. And what I realized is that I was often then judging myself whenever I would notice I was intellectualizing again. And I wasn't like giving myself permission to go between and connect them. It was like, this is bad, this is good. And I was like, oh, I got stuck in the binary again.
Uh,
Even though it's the thing that I know intellectually and in my body isn't for humans to have that dichotomy. But I was doing it, and this elevator language was like, oh, I can take the elevator up and down as much as I want. Like, the point is to be able to use both floors, so to speak. Yes. Keep using the analogy.
wow. That's that's beautiful. And also I think that you really did something for me by sharing those, especially the fist one.
Mm,
And like you're saying like this is so simple, like it is simple, but like I also was like, "Oh shit, that's fucking profound as fuck." Cuz I have been doing a similar thing with all the neck tension and how much like trouble I have like turning my head or tilting my head or laying down or fucking anything.
yep.
And judging that tension
Yeah.
and then like recently though I have like similarly been like, oh, what if the tension is just supposed to be there right now? Like the tension's there right now. What if I just
Hmm.
let it be there right now? Like, what if that's just
Right.
where I am? And that I
Hmm.
was like, whoa. Cause I'm
Yeah.
always like, how do I get rid of this tension? Like, I need a
Uh-huh.
massage. Like, it can't be okay if I have this tension. Like, how do I get rid of it? And yeah, I was just like, wait a second, what if I just let it be? But I think now, like, holding on to that visual with another part of my body that I don't have that connection with of the
Hmm.
tension. Like if I can like hold on to that exercise, I think that's also going to help me to like to practice that and to practice that reframing because
Hmm.
it is really hard to experience something so loudly physical
Yes.
sensation and then to just be like, okay, I'm going to let this be right now.
Hmm.
So I think having that full, like exercise in my brain now is going to be like, oh, remember that? Like, remember that thing? I'm going to like connect it to that and be like, oh, okay. Like, I feel like that'll help to like, is mitigate a good word for that? Like,
Yeah, I think that's the word I would have used. It was just so wild because it's something I intellectually have thought about and known, and just physically doing that with my body, I was so shocked at all of the sensations,
hmm,
like physical sensations, and then the emotional sensations that it just welled up in me. And I was like, oh, right. That's why they call it somatics. Like, that's why you use your body. It's like, again, like I knew all the things, but then having like, yeah, that simple example. And also, I'll point out, which I'm glad that you reflected that back to me because it jogged my memory of one of the other things that I experienced while I was doing that exercise is noticing how my pain and experience of my body was changing real time
hmm,
while I was doing that exercise because I've been having a lot of nerve pain and tension like in my jaw and the like base of my skull, and we were doing the fist exercise of trying to pull, and especially because this side's worse and I was using my left hand to like pull. And so like as I was doing it, I was like, oh, isn't that interesting? I could feel the pain change.
hmm,
It like increase and I could like feel it start going up into my ear and stuff. And I was like, oh, that's so interesting that because I'm doing this, I could feel a change, whereas before it wasn't hurting as bad. And then on the flip side, when we're doing just the holding, I was so focused on the like the weight of my hand that I wasn't thinking about like this movement or like this as much. And there was a moment where I was like, oh, I'm not paying attention to that pain right now. And thus it's better. And then I felt that like grief kind of well up, and I kind of like took a deep breath because I was only with the person running the workshop and one other person. So it's just three of us in this room. And I was feeling vulnerable and like I didn't want to cry in front of strangers. I did. But at the moment, I was like sitting there and I was like, well, maybe I don't have to cry. And I kind of took a deep breath to kind of like collect myself. And when I took a deep breath, I heard like a little like pop crackle go up the back of my neck of like things like, I call it release, but it
Mm.
feels better when it does it. It's not like my bones cracking, but I can like hear the
Mhm.
muscle like tension kind of pop. And I was like, oh, right, because we're just allowing. Like the striving, the I have to fix this, I have to find the point to press, and
Mm.
whatever is making it worse, paradoxically, while you're trying to make it better. Whereas I've been thinking about that a lot in the sense of like, because I've been doing a lot of self massage things, and I noticed that I could be doing the exact same thing physically with my hands. And what makes it better or worse is literally my intention. If I'm in a lot of pain and I'm like, I have to fix this, I have to like figure out where to press, I have to keep doing it until something changes,
Uh-huh.
I'm fucked. But if I'm like, what feels good? Not what's going to fix the thing, but literally like just what part of my face feels good to touch? How
Mhm.
does it feel good to touch it? And like focus on like that is always more profound,
Uh-huh.
even for a little bit. It might not fix the thing, but like it does shift what I'm focusing on.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a big hard one for me and my physical body. I
Same.
it's so hard when you're just like, it hurts, I want to get rid of it.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
yeah, I have also been working to like practice the like, what if I just move in a way that like feels good right now? Or like that one, I think it was like a reel or a TikTok that you sent that the person was just like, it was like a self massage thing, and he was like, the
Hmm.
like the goal isn't to like dig in and like work the tension out. The goal is like neutral. Like, does this
Right.
feel neutral to like positive, neutral like, or like
Uh-huh.
pleasurable? Like the goal was
Hmm.
like pleasure, or right, are we like enjoying this? And I
Yes.
was like, what?
Because like he was reminding throughout the video, do not press.
Right.
Like you're not trying to get to the muscle. You're like, I think he said multiple times, you're moving the skin around. Like it's a fascia thing. Like you're literally just the skin on top of the muscle is what you're moving. And like, I think at one point he said, I know that you are digging, so just remember it's the skin you're moving. I think about him all the time. He's very supportive. Because that's when I was like, oh, I've been doing that.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, because I'm trying to find what muscle, what connection point can I dig into that's going
Right.
to make it release. And I'm just like, oh, what if that isn't what I need?
Yeah, what if we just need a soft, gentle allowance?
Hmm.
Whoa.
Yeah, I have a hard time being soft and gentle with myself, I'm finding out, which is so interesting because I think of isn't it interesting that incongruence? I think of myself as a soft, gentle person, but
Mhm.
when I'm actually looking at a lot of the things that I say to myself or do, I'm not at all that. I can be, it's not all or nothing, but there are like definitely things where I'm like, oh, it never occurred to me to ask myself if this is aligned with how I view myself or how I want to be.
Huh.
Because I don't think of for example, with other people, I would never see myself as this like harsh taskmaster. Like, you must do it this way and that way and like micromanage someone
Mhm.
else.
Mhm.
But then when it comes to me, I'm doing that exact thing.
I feel I feel exactly the same. I'm dying because I was like, I'm not a soft or gentle person. Is like I I don't see myself in that way just in any capacity, but, as you were certainly not to myself, but as you were saying that, I was thinking like, "Well, wait a second, Bridget, how do you talk with Tiffany when you're, like, having these conversations or, like, with other people or with, like, clients when I'm literally, like, doing the work and walking people through, like, it's okay where you are, like, you're feeling
Mhm.
big things." I'm like, "That's cool, like, that's okay, like, that's we're right where we're meant to be and find each other." I was
Mhm.
like, "That's kinda soft and gentle."
It is. Mhm. I love that it's like the exact same thing, but flipped upside down. The exact same experience.
What?
But you're like, I'm not soft or gentle at all. And I'm all like, but I think I'm only soft and gentle.
Oh
And neither
gosh.
is it true.
Wow, the
We are
thing
complex human beings, both and.
indeed. Indeed we are. Shit. We're doing a great job.
We are.